What makes wise people wise people? What makes intelligent people suffer? What makes some very simple people who may not have too much knowledge, too much wisdom, who may not know a single doha of Kabir or Rahim, laugh effortlessly? What makes some of these people who live in very poor conditions, with the patra as the ceiling, live a life without complaints? What makes a few people so determined, and why some of us have weak willpower? Why some of us live our lives scared, and why some can live life bindas? Why some are not able to forgive what has happened in the past, and why some are effortlessly able to let go? Deep questions, important questions. In the rush and the hurry-burry of daily life, we sometimes don't get a chance to sit and ponder. But travel gives us that time. So I love to travel. I got a beautiful message from Manisha Purohit yesterday. And this is how her message went. Dear Naren, happy morning. Reading your message yesterday, I wish to share my thoughts on it. Since last year in the lockdown period, I got time for myself as an individual. So firstly, I reduced my weight up to 12 kgs by working out 100%, accompanied by diet control. I also did my journey within. I started meditating for a few hours every day, and I read a lot of books. After observing my inner self, I realized that I never loved nor respected myself or even dreamt for myself. Can you elaborate on self-love for me in any of our sessions? And I hope you and your family are safe and sound. Thank you. Love you loads. I think what she brings out is a super essential point. When she writes, after observing my inner self, I realize I have never loved nor respected myself, nor even dreamt for myself. What does it mean? And I would like all of you to start thinking on these lines. Have you deeply loved yourself? Have you respected yourself for who you are? Is that your anchor, or does it come and go? And have you ever dreamt something beautiful for yourself? It could be something as simple as, like what Sharma ji is saying, I love to do paragliding, so I want to do paragliding. वहाँ और कोई गोल नहीं है, वहाँ और कोई डेस्टिनेशन नहीं है, वहाँ एक सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट नहीं है. It's just something that I would do because I love myself. Pamper yourself. Would we do that? The first large article that I wrote in my life was in the year 1995. And that is when I first time believed that I can write. And when I write, I can express, and what I express connects with my readers. 13, 14 years later, I developed in the habit of writing consistently, which became life school messages. But in 1995, what did I write? I had just gotten married. 1993 is when I had gotten married. And I found that suddenly my life has become too fast. Before marriage, my time was packed because I was socially very active. And when I say socially active, it is not only in going to people's homes or calling people over, but also in social movements. I found that in my packed life, now I need to create time for my wife, and rightfully so. And I also needed to create time for everybody at my in-laws' house because they were loving me a lot. Suddenly, time was not enough. And I would like to do anything well. I would like to enjoy and contribute to the best possible extent. So I wrote I called it a paper called The Enlivening Force. Drowning in the roles needs a lifeboat. An individual, an enlivening force. There is a force of life within me. The enlivening force is drowning in the roles. If I have 10 minutes to relax, I would realize that I should call my mother-in-law. If I have half an hour to chill out, I would say, "नहीं यार, ये time भारती के संग बैठते हैं." If I had gone out with my wife and I came back home and I just wanted to go and hit the bed, I would realize that मम्मी के संग तो बैठा ही नहीं, 2 दिन हो गए. And I found my roles are pulling me in every direction. And have no space for myself. An enlivening force, drowning in the roles, it needs a lifeboat. So when Manisha wrote this message, I was reminded of my paper. And all that I wrote at that time came back to me in a flash. This is even more true for the women of our country who seem to carry a tremendous sense of responsibility on their shoulders, not only for the work that they do, but also for the welfare of every member of the family. Now, Suparna has a darling daughter called Sai. Sai is a very sweet, cute 19-year-old kid. One of the sweetest children around. Now, Sai did the batch a few months ago, just before she went to medical college. Now, she's studying to be a doctor. Both her parents are doctors. And as I speak with Suparna, she not only feels responsible for the new hospital they are building up, she's also thinking about the HR policies to be in place. She's also thinking about how to run the canteen so that the food is served right. And she's also thinking about what is Sai doing? Is she well settled or not? What will she go through when she's alone? She's never been alone all by herself. And she's not able to find time for herself. I'm not sure if her husband is having the same mental responsibilities on बच्ची वहाँ ठीक है क्या, घर ठीक है कि नहीं, घर की सफाई हुई कि नहीं, घर में मम्मी पापा उनका देखभाल हुआ कि नहीं. His approach is his work. Work is done, he comes home and it's time to chill and relax. And maybe ask for things to get pampered. So it may be यार एक अदरक वाली चाय बना देना. Now I don't visualize Suparna telling her husband, यार एक अदरक वाली चाय बना देना. Not that he may not, but she doesn't have the time to think for herself. Because in that time where she thinks she can relax for 10 minutes and have that chai, there is another small work जिसको वो पटा सकती है. चलो ये भी पटा लो, अरे ये भी पेंडिंग था, अरे इसकी ये सफाई करना है, अरे ये ड्रॉर से निकालना है. And there are a million things on the head. The ladies of our country feel so responsible for their home and every member of their home. They feel guilty if they create some time and start enjoying themselves. And this is the conditioning that we have created for the women folk of our country. Of course, in the new generation, things will change a lot. Our kids who are studying now, who will get married, now their life and their life partners will be different. But largely for us, who are, let's say, 30 plus, the lady still feels tremendously responsible for a million things. The men may not be so inclined towards taking care of the home front, but then they have assumed social duties. इधर जाना है, उससे मिलना है, उसके लिए ये करना है, इन लोगों का ये कनेक्शन करवाना है, ये नेटवर्किंग करना है, अरे उसको फोन करना है, उससे जाके मिल के आना है, उसको देख के आना है. So the time to think about ourselves and the time to think about our dreams. हिंदी में एक शब्द है जिसको बोलते हैं धूमिल. It's not out of our eyes, yet it's not in focus. When we live this kind of a life, there are two things which happens. We become very short on temper. अपना टेम्परामेंट थोड़ा वीक हो जाता है. Somebody might even tell something as simple as, अरे यहाँ मत बैठ, वहाँ बैठ जा, and it might irritate us. Let's say the lady of the house comes and tells the husband, अभी जरा स्नान कर लो, because she has 10 more things to do after that fellow takes bath. वो बाथरूम सफाई करना है, वो बाई का काम कंप्लीट करना है, कपड़े को लेके धोना है, उसके बाद उसको सुखाना है, उसके बाद she has a list of things which has to be done, which is linked to this fellow taking bath. And this fellow simply says, क्यों नहीं करना है, जब करना करूँ. He thinks she is interfering in his chill time. She is not understanding how much burden I am carrying to run the family and earn money and so many stuff. And she thinks, छोटा सा काम है, 15 मिनट बात करेगा, अभी करेगा, मेरा 10 काम और हो जाएगा. And we are on short fuse. We are getting more irritated than we need to be. And this is with people we love. So the first thing you see is almost everybody is irritated nowadays. If they are not irritated, they are in an ocean of self-sympathy. Either they are irritated or they have done PhD in self-sympathy. कोई मुझे नहीं समझता. You know, this kind of a pose. मुझे मेरे हाल में छोड़ दो kinds. अपनी किस्मत में नहीं है, जाने दे. And it is applicable to men and women. So this is one scenario. And the other scenario is we get distracted very fast. We don't have time, yet we will watch Netflix or TV for a couple of hours, if not 3 hours. 2-2 बजे तक देख रहा है, नींद आ रही है उसको, लेकिन फिर भी देख रहा है. I want to escape from the reality of my world, so let me get distracted. Very honestly, how many of you experience this? We get distracted. There was a time when distraction was reading newspapers. Today, unfortunately, distraction comes in the form of TV channels, TikTok. We'll go to Facebook or YouTube and watch all stupid 1 minute, 2 minute videos. And sometimes we might create one also. 30-second video, 40-second video. Distractions. Now imagine we are on a short fuse. We mind if something is told to us. We either get irritated or we have self-sympathy. And we are largely distracted. We are then not living at our peak. Forget about living at our peak. We are not loving ourselves. We feel lonely. Even when you have a family which loves you, even if you have a friend who loves you, we still feel lonely. And in this loneliness, one thing which drives us is, कोई मुझे नहीं समझता. Nobody understands me and nobody is interested in understanding me. जब किसी को कुछ जरूरत होती है, मेरे को याद करते हैं. किसी को कुछ चाहिए तो बराबर फोन आता है. लेकिन मेरे बारे में कोई नहीं सोचता. And would you believe it when I say, the people about who you are thinking like this are having exactly the same thoughts about you. They are also thinking the same way. So if Suparna is thinking my husband does not care for me enough, the husband also has a personal list of 10 things which Suparna should do but she is not doing for him. Now both of them, when they speak to each other, the underlying current will be irritation. And the person who has a greater sense of poor me, self-sympathy, will become quiet first and withdraw and suffer. Unfortunately, this is true in most lives. Would you agree with what I am saying? Materialistically, our life is better. The homes we live in is looking much more beautiful than the homes where we spent our childhood. We have many more tools and equipments to make our life convenient, like the phone and the laptop and stuff like that. The music system in our house is much better. The vehicles that we own and the drive are much better. So scientifically and technologically, we are having a much, much better life. We have things around us which can and should make our life easier. But we are not as peaceful as we used to be. What to do? That is the theme of today's life lesson. Let me take you in a different direction. Very different direction. Let me ask you a question which is quite unexpected. Have you experienced moments of death? And I'm saying experienced. I'm not saying seen. Chances are somebody has expired on your lap. Chances are somebody expired right in front of your eyes. You were doing seva to someone, they're quite old, time ho gaya hai, and they left. I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about the experience within. Have you ever experienced those moments where you felt you are not there? And it was scary. An experience as if you are outside your body and you're observing yourself. And you got a little scared. Oh my God, is my soul out of my body? And will my soul ever enter my body, or ho gaya mera? So the question is, have you ever experienced a state of death? Confusing? Let me give you the background behind why that question, and I'm glad some of you are saying yes, yes, no, no. Let's take life lesson in a very deep direction. I meditate regularly. And the objective of meditation is not just peace, but it is to understand my essence of life. A Zen monk lost his son to death. And he loved his son very dearly. He loved his son more than any father has loved his son ever in the history of mankind. Surprisingly, After his son's death, nobody saw him grieving. He was as happy as before. He carried on with his life as happy as any other day. His wife was taken aback. She was shocked. So she approached him and told him, "How come you're not grieving? Your son was so dear to you, and I know you loved your son more than you loved anybody in this earth. And your son was loved by you more than any father would have loved their son. When something is so dear to you and it is taken away, any human being would grieve. Why are you not grieving?" वो पूरा दिखावा था क्या? Did you never love your son and you only pretended? So that when he is gone, तुमको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है? And I remember Raj Muchal asking me the same question. Naren, is something wrong with me? And why was this question there in his mind? He lost his very dear wife, Lali, to cancer. There was an element of sadness in his life, but he was also centered. The grief was not in the form of torment. Oh my God, how am I going to... That helplessness was not there in his grief. And everybody else around was anticipating him to be tormented. They were in love for 6 years, then they got married, and then the marriage was there for 20 years. So they thought, oh my God, this guy will be completely broken now. He was anchored to his within. And when people started commenting, he asked me this question, is something wrong with me? Was my love phony? So the wife had the same question to her Zen monk husband. Are you a phony? Are you pretending? सिर्फ बोलते हो कि बच्चे से बहुत प्यार था, एक्चुअल में किधर है? It's very natural for us to judge someone who can move on very fast. नहीं, थोड़ा दुख और होना चाहिए. And we think greater the sorrow proves greater the love. The Zen monk smiled, looked at his wife and said, there was a time in my life when my son was not there. And I was very happy. Today, my son is not there. If there was a time in my life without my son, I was so happy. What has changed? Let's say I buy a brand new Benz and the Benz meets with an accident and it's completely destroyed. There was a time in my life when I did not have that Benz and I was very happy. Today also I do not have the Benz. What has changed? There is a proof that without the Benz, I could be very happy and I was very happy. Today, if I don't have that Benz, what has changed? Am I fussing about insignificant? Am I thinking something outside of me will define my life? Am I thinking if I grieve more, people will understand how much I loved something? Am I seeking the approval of the world for me to love myself? Only if 10 people are loving me, it means I am good. Then I am on dangerous grounds. Very dangerous grounds. There was a time in my life when I did not have my son, and I was very happy, says the Zen monk. Nothing has changed. Today also I don't have my son. When you've experienced moments of death within, you understand life. And you also understand one day you will not be there. It's not a scary thought that you and me will die. It's a liberating thought that you and me will also pass away. Very deeply you understand the temporariness of anything and everything. And that is when you live your life with a sense of detached attachment. Detached because you don't expect anything to last forever. You know it'll end. And this detachment helps you to avoid grief. And this also stops you from seeking approval from anyone out there. And attachment makes you enjoy what you have thoroughly, completely. So what you have right now is what you enjoy. The enlivening force does not anymore drown in the rules. It has fun with the rules. It dances with the rules. It has a great time with the rules, and it understands the struggles of the rules. He's so angry. He must be suffering so much here. You realize that their anger is not about you. Even if it is directed at you, it's their helplessness within. It's never about you. If Teja is practicing her dance on the ground, she is not against Mother Earth. वो नहीं बोल रही है कि धरती को कुचल दूंगी मेरे पैर के नीचे. She does not even know the kind of impact it is having on Mother Earth. She only knows what she wants to express. Similarly, when somebody out there, let's say, misbehaves, what I have learned in life is, it is not about you, it is not about me. It is never about me. It's about their inability to handle what they are going through in their life. If the mirror reflects you the way you are, the mirror has nothing against you. Water makes you wet, water has nothing against you. The sun makes your whole body warm, sun has nothing against you. They are just doing what they are doing. It is never personal. When I understand this, grief ends. The heartaches and the heartburns that we collect against human beings, पप्पा ने ऐसा बोल दिया, मम्मी ने ऐसे कैसे किया, how did my brother not help me, why my sister behaves like this, it just ends. There is no scope for grief. For you have realized two things. One, you understand everything is temporary anyway. And two, you realize the person against whom you have grief is actually suffering quite a lot. Let's say, for example, I have come to Chennai to meet my parents and my father becomes very upset and he says, अभी तेरे बहन की लड़के की शादी हुई, तूने बहन की लड़की की शादी में तूने बहुत कम दिया, तूने ज्यादा नहीं दिया. Let's say a classic situation. Let's say on Badai we gave 1,000 and Papa is expecting we should give given 1 lakh. Let's say, for example. एक ही तो तेरी बहन है, तू इतना भी नहीं कर सकता है क्या, समाज में नाक कटो. Let's say, for example, Papa says these things. For example, I might defend and say, लेन देन से रिश्ते होते हैं क्या? फिर तो सिर्फ अमीर लोग ही अच्छे रिश्ता बनाएंगे, गरीब लोग कैसे रिश्ते बनाएंगे? And he then comes back and says, तुम लोग सिर्फ बहस करो, तुमको तो इज्जत ही नहीं है, समाज में तो हमको रहना पड़ता है. And a very complicated argument, both are sitting in different corners of the house. I think he doesn't understand me, he's convinced I don't understand him. I think he doesn't love me and he's convinced my son does not respect me. Both are angry, both are frustrated. One of them will now go through self-sympathy. So let's say Papa says, अब तो मेरी उम्र हो गई है, 80 साल का हो गया हूं, अभी बच्चों को मेरे से क्या लेना देना, इससे तो मरना ही ठीक है. And he might give some dialogues also like this. As we are sitting and having food, Papa might come and say something and go. खाओ खाओ, तुमको क्या है, बाप के जब जिस दिन बाप मरेगा ना उस दिन सब देगा. And I get angry and say, मेरे को खाना ही नहीं खाना. Classic scenarios. Or I will go through self-sympathy. मेरे साथ बचपन से पक्षपात हुआ है. मेरे साथ अन्याय हर समय होता है. जब कुछ चाहिए तो मेरी याद आती है, जब किसी को कुछ देना है मेरी याद नहीं आती. Whoever has self-sympathy will retreat into one corner and become sad for the rest of the day. This is a very classic scenario, huh? घर में everybody is upset, everybody is angry. And then my mother might come and say, बेटा जाने देना, छोड़ देना, तेरे को मालूम है ना तेरे पापा का गुस्सा. And I might say, और कितने साल लेना ये गुस्सा? Alternatively, when Papa says all that he has to say, can I feel his pain? And just let it be at that. अब तकलीफ में. Suparna will tell you, when a mother is about to give delivery, let's say pre-mother time, the process of giving delivery to the child is supremely painful. Labor pain is at its peak. Because the child will tear a part of the body and come out. Very painful. You and me can't imagine. Only a woman who's given birth to a child through natural delivery can imagine that pain. Because she knows it, she understands it. And there are times when the woman is pushing for the child to be born and she is going through excruciating pain. She cannot handle that pain anymore, and if there are nurses around, they actually beat the nurse. अरे इतना दुख रहा है बोल रहा है कि और पुश करो ले. And the nurses are used to it. They know how to hold their body at an angle and take the beating over there and not on their face or some other part. And they don't take it personal. They understand. These mothers, they might joke about it saying इसका पेन का threshold कम है, इसको जितना पेन लेना चाहिए ले नहीं सकती. And there are some people whose pain threshold is very high. They will go through it, but they will keep that pain, give birth to the child, but they're not going to complain and hurt someone else. But there are some who get so angry at the doctor and at the sisters there. As if wait, तू बाहर मिल मेरे से, मारेगी मैं तेरे को पकड़ के. Now those nurses understand it's not about them. They don't know how to handle their pain, so they think that we are the cause. And if I am saying push harder, they think we care a damn about them. But उसके पास दूसरा ऑप्शन नहीं है, पुश तो करना ही पड़ेगा. And after the child is born, the nurses and the sisters have a great smile on their face. I think they are very wise. They don't take it personal. They understand if somebody is misbehaving, they don't know how to handle the unfortunates of their life. Then I do not carry grief. I have no scope in my heart for grief. I don't have scope in my heart for self-sympathy. I don't have scope in my heart to stay hurt and keep thinking about that hurt again and again. I can forgive instantaneously and I can move on instantaneously. And only when you reach this stage can you experience self-love, not otherwise. So the option is either self-sympathy or it is self-love. And we need to make a choice. If grief is a part of your processing system of life, if getting upset and angry at people is your processing system of life, then self-love is impossible. You will always find someone who you believe is creating chaos in your life. Sometimes it can be the mother, sometimes it will be a business partner, sometimes it's a brother, sometimes it's your spouse, sometimes it's your children, sometimes it's your children's in-laws. तुम किसी न किसी को ढूंढ ही लोगे. Because your processing system is, I am a victim. And as long as you feel victimized, you can't love yourself. So conquer grief. There was a time in my life when my son was not there and I was so happy. Today also I don't have my son. What has changed? As long as I had my son, I had a great time. So I have those extraordinary memories. But I've experienced those moments of death when I have seen my essence. And I know what is that pure experience. I've met me. I meditate for that experience. To remind me of life. That's why I don't carry grief. That's why you see me excited and energetic and forgiving instantaneously. And that's why I have the ability to move on no matter what. Self-sympathy is not the way I process life. And if somebody has done something which I believe shouldn't have been done, I understand they have their way of processing life. Hence I am able to move on. So you don't love me, kya? You will not miss me, kya? I love you very deeply. Will I miss you? I don't know. If I'll miss you in a very sweet way. I'll think about the wonderful times we had. I'll think about the conversations we had. I'll think about the funny things we did together. I'll think about the laughter we shared. I will think about everything which made life alive. Will I carry grief? So far, I haven't. And who knows about the future? Will I forget you? No, I won't. You're a part of my life. I can't forget you. In fact, as I'm having juice somewhere, I might miss your presence. But I'll miss you for only the positives and the sweet. Grief? I don't know. Then I can love myself. Not otherwise. So tell me your thoughts. Sometimes when we write, it's only the logic which comes out. When we speak, our convictions, our emotions also come out. So I would like to listen to you. Then maybe immediately, maybe towards the end, I'll play another extraordinary song for you. And in between, we have a small discussion to do. Yes, darlings. Anybody, would you like to share?
Naren, I just realized that distraction, whenever I feel distracted, so I'm running away from my pain. I want to hide. That's why I go in distraction. So let's say that you shared that Netflix one. So I know I want to do this work, but I just give myself excuse and run away. So now I have to start loving my work or pain. Let this come through me. So then I love more myself. And when I do go through this pain, I'll start loving myself more because I achieved something.
Very beautiful, Vijay.
Naren, I realize most of the time I'm into trap of self-sympathy, and I used to think actually I love myself. But now I realize if I'm in that trap, how can I love myself? Enough, matlab. Then the process of life should be self-love, not self-sympathy, and how to do it. So with attachment and understanding, no one is against me. It is their own struggle.
Absolutely.
And everything is temporary. If I can understand this, then I could love myself enoughly.
Absolutely. And be like that Zen monk. Masti.
Yes.
I mean, the way of living life should be masti. पहले मस्ती फिर हस्ती. कुछ?
I realize that my anger, my pain, my grief is because I'm not able to handle the situation or the loss. Like the story of the monk. In case I have a loss, I lost in a business or a loss of a person or some situation. I should think of the time when I didn't have that. So if I think like monk, then my pain or the grief will reduce. And the most important sentence which I liked was we should try for the detached attachment. If we can achieve that, then our life would be beautiful.
Absolutely. Now, having said that, and we listen to Preeti, having said that, don't go and tell people, see, I'm not going to miss you, okay? पब्लिक अनाउंसमेंट मत कर देना, फिर गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. ये सब इंटरनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग्स कि these are not external announcements. Preeti?
Yeah, what happened was that usually I get labeled as a emotionless person. And it used to hurt me a lot. And it used to make me go into self-sympathy. Why people don't understand? Because just because I'm moving ahead, that doesn't mean that I don't have emotion. But today it made me realize that it may be their inability to move ahead. They make me hurt. So when I understood that, it made me more relaxed and calm.
Yeah. But it's an extraordinary quality, ability to move on.
Yeah.
There's so much in life, right now. Leo Felice Buscaglia, he had his father as his role model. Father's name was Tullio. One day, father died. Leo was absolutely in grief, very deep grief. And after the father's body was buried, he comes home and he finds at the doorstep a very big bouquet and a big box of flowers and a big box of chocolates. Leo got so offended कि यार आज मेरे पिताजी गए हैं और किसी ने मेरे को चॉकलेट का बॉक्सेस और दिस ब्यूटीफुल बुके भेजा है. And there was a note next to it. It seems the father had made arrangements that the day I die, you should send this to Leo, my son. And in the note it was written, there are still so many beautiful things in the world for you to experience. There are still so many sweet things in the world for you to taste. Don't waste your life in grief. Grief is nothing but wasting life, na? Neither is grief living life, nor is grief celebrating life. So there are still so many beautiful things in the world to see. There are still so many sweet things for you to taste. Don't waste your life in grief. And we can practice this when we truly understand the impermanence of everything. If we still hope, nay, then grief will be there. I repeat, will we miss things? Of course we will miss them. But we'll remember everything sweet and beautiful. And that's the way to have relationships. Now I'll
बोल सकती हूँ.
हाँ, please, Teja.
So what I think regarding monk portion, that मुझे ऐसे लग रहा है कि I cannot be like what is his thought process. I don't think right now I am into that position of my life. मुझे लग रहा है कि ये सब मैं around after संन्यास आश्रम लेते हैं ना, after 70-75 शायद मैं तब कर पाऊंगी. That what is my thought process right now, because I cannot think about my son or my people like this. हाँ, but I can think like मेरे से बहुत कोई attached है और हो गया है तो मुझे मैं possible कर सकूंगी, but not right the immediate relation. And ऐसे मुझे लग रहा है कि वो thought process में मैं बाद में जाऊंगी, अभी नहीं कर सकती. That I don't know if you can tell something and I can change my mind.
No, it's perfectly okay. I understand your thinking process.
और मुझे लग रहा है कि being an artist, अगर मैं insensitive, inemotional हो जाऊंगी तो मेरे अंदर का artist भी मर जाएगा. Right now.
Okay, fair enough. The people who have the capacity to move on are not insensitive, and that is exactly how the world perceives them. The world thinks they are insensitive. They are not. They also have intense emotions. But they know what to hold on and what to let go. जो गार्बेज है उसको मैं घर में क्यों रखूं, उसको मैं बाहर निकाल देता हूं. They don't want to suffer unnecessarily. They understand the zero value of suffering. There's no glory in suffering. Because there are still so many people to enjoy and so much to do with so many people. When I look at one closed door, I'm also ignoring the 99 doors which are open. And with those 99 doors, I'm completely in love. So let's say right now, there are about 73 of us in life lessons. I can either miss the 100 which are not there, or I can celebrate the 73 who are there. Very simple, right? So let me celebrate the 73 who are present. It's as simple as that.
Can I share? Naren?
Prashant, yes, please go ahead.
I am not a victim. The person is not able to handle his emotion, and nothing is against me.
Absolutely.
I love myself. I was happy, and the thing which has come new in my life, I will enjoy that one. But I will always remember that I was happy without that also.
Yeah, it's a very big thing, you know. It's a
After
very, very big thing. Let me take the questions now. So there were a few questions. Where is my darling Navya? Navya, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, okay. The example that you gave about a person losing his son and then saying, I was once happy and now I again don't have my son. So, it's possible to be happy. Now, if I think of it in terms of my life, when a new person enters and I spend some time and we have some relation, there is some amount of dependence that starts happening. In this, now that person has a place in my life. Now that when that person leaves, I don't want to grieve. I understand it's a waste of time and I can see it's a waste of time, and that's a cause of anger also because there's so much to do and I'm grieving. But that person, now I know what life could be like with that person. Now, that was my problem statement. And the solution which I got from this session was this part of detached attachment. And I understand what it means, but in execution, what does it look like? Because I invest in any relationship and that leads to attachment, which is not. What does it mean? How do I execute this?
Very beautiful. So Navya, like you, I also give myself in 100% to any relationship. There is no holding back. There is no giving a part of me. I am in completely. You know, in psychology, there is something called 5 stages of grief. And when you are going through grief, understand which stage you are in, and it's okay. You may take 2 days to outgrow your grief. You may take 7 days to outgrow your grief. That is okay. As long as you understand, you know, when somebody slips and falls, they will take a little time to get back on their feet, which is okay. But life is not in my favor. The road does not like me. Whenever I walk, I slip and fall. ये जो drama है ना इधर, ये बंद कर दे. You have slipped, you have fallen, you are on your bums, your bum is hurting, people are looking at you laughing. You also start laughing. और यार, butts बहुत दुख रहा है यार. But then you might also say, I am so glad I have such adipose over here. It didn't really hurt me. I am so glad for my glorious butts. I am not actually feeling the hurt. But I know people who have said that to me. That I am so glad there are enough shock observing tissues that I have. Hence, there is no issue because I have tissue. मतलब कमाल हो जाता है ये approach. Now, there are 5 stages of grief. Stage number 1 is denial. How can this happen to me? How can he do that or she do that to me? I was so honest to, etc. etc. You just want to deny that this has not happened. It possible nahi hai. Stage number 2 is anger. I'm going to teach that person a lesson. God will punish him. He will never have peace in life. You know that cursing phase is there. मेरी पूरी बद्दुआएं लगेगी उसको. You know that kinds. And now it depends on how filmy you are. Accordingly, dialogues will come. So stage 1 is denial. ये मेरे साथ नहीं हो सकता. Stage 2 is anger. Stage 3 is bargaining. It's a very interesting phase. So let's say there is love and you know it's not going to work out. Can we at least remain friends? You know, let's not call it off. So this is a bargaining phase. किसको एमपी का सीट चाहिए ना, एमपी नहीं मिला तो एमएलए तो दे दे, एमएलए नहीं है तो लोकल काउंसिलर में तो दे दे. We bargain. Stage number 4 is when there is sadness, where the system is getting ready to move on. It is like मुझे मेरे हाल पे छोड़ दो kinds. You are understanding that gap in life now. And there is sadness. The more you have dreams with a person, the greater will be sadness. And stage number 5 is acceptance. These are 5 stages of grief. Now, when we say moving on, we are moving from stage 1 to stage 5 as soon as possible. Stage number 1 is where we are in tremendous self-sympathy. Stage number 4 is also where we are in self-sympathy again. But in this self-sympathy, I'm not hoping for things to become okay. In stage 1, I'm still hoping that things will become okay. Move to stage 5 as soon as possible. So Navya, there is a brief outline for you. And watch how your mind follows and where it is. Okay? This is how it looks like. Yes, darling. Tyra?
Sir, just a small thing. Sir, in this self-analyzing and understanding, do we get selfish at times with our own self?
Define selfish.
Like, I am getting detached from that person, saying that, that person has betrayed me, or I am not up to the mark, and then I decide, okay, fine, let's end it off. But am I getting selfish and I'm not giving should I still build the relationship and try to get some things out, or I should just end it?
If you remember a few life lessons ago, we discussed, if anybody is very comfortable in disrespecting you, they are not seeing value in you. Let's say Akanksha is there, Rita is there, Suparna is there, Joe is there, and Ritesh is there. And you have time for how many people? Right? Let's say for some reason Akanksha disrespects you every now and then. She gives you time, but she does not come. You make phone calls, she does not respond. Right? And then she goes and tells Kunj that, you know what, this is not okay about Tahira. And there is Rita who loves you, who says, chal ghar aapan baithenge, baat karenge, I really like the way you are. And Suparna also says, तेरे को कभी भी holiday चाहिए, आजा मेरे पास, सांगोला में, छोटी सी जगह है लेकिन बहुत मजा करेंगे. तेरे पास टाइम तो एक ही इंसान के लिए. Now, would you prefer to convert Akanksha, or would you like to shower all the love on people who are showering love on you? And what Akanksha is dying is the consequences of choices she is making for herself in life. It's not your responsibility to convert her. It is her responsibility to convert herself. And the day she is ready to convert herself and she is eager to change, she has to take initiative and she has to show her readiness. मतलब तुम किसी को बचाने जा रही हो और वो तुमको हाथ भी नहीं दे रहा है और चार और डूब रहे हैं जो हाथ ऊपर कर रहे हैं, तुम किसको बचाओगी? और तुम एक दो को ही बचा सकती हो, पांचों को नहीं बचा सकती हो. जो हाथ नहीं दे रहा है तुम उसको बचाने जाओगी, शायद खुद भी डूब जाओगी वहां पे. तो वो सेल्फिश कैसे हुआ? लेट्स से तू गोल्डन बेकरी जाती है, पफ खरीदती है और सामने वाला बोलता है कि मैडम 50 रुपया हुआ. विल यू टेल हिम सेल्फिश? यू आर आस्किंग फॉर मनी. अरे रिलेशनशिप्स इज ऑल अबाउट गिव एंड टेक, राइट? धरती को भी मैं एक बीज देता हूं तो मेरे को 10,000 बीज वापस करती है. आई गिव टू द प्लांट्स कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, इट गिव्स मी ऑक्सीजन बैक. लेने देने का तो चालू ही है ना. और जहां कोई है जो तुमको कुछ देना ही नहीं चाहता और जो तुम्हारा है वो भी खींच के लेना चाहता है, मतलब क्या करेंगे वहां पे हम? They have their own struggles, they have their own reason. There will be somebody who will come into their life and convert them. Tahira is not the right person for that. You understand? For some reason, some people decide to close themselves against some people. उनको उसका सुनना नहीं है, उनको समझना नहीं है. मैं उसी दरवाजे को खोलने जाएगा ना, बाकी के दरवाजे का आनंद ही नहीं ले पाएगा. Now let me define selfishness for you. What is selfishness? When I exploit people, it is selfishness. When you give me what I wanted and I don't give you something back, that is selfishness. तुमने कितना पफ लिया है वो गोल्डन बेकरी वाले को मालूम नहीं. उसने बोला था मैडम आपको जितना चाहिए आप ले लो, मैं थोड़ा बिजी है. You took 10 puffs and you told मैंने तो 2 ही लिया है, 20 रुपए तूने दे दिया. That is selfishness. तुम्हारी नियति खराब है वहां. मैं ये डूबते आदमी को छोड़ के जो हाथ नहीं उठा रहा है, दूसरे डूबते आदमी को बजा रहा है जो हाथ अपना आगे कर रहा है, मैं सेल्फिश कैसे हुआ? अरे टू हेल्प यू आई ऑल्सो नीड यू ना. You're not a stone where I have a hammer in my hand and I can create a statue out of you. You are resisting. फिर किधर से तुमको स्टैचू बनाएगा मैं? The best sculptor cannot create a statue out of a stone if the stone catches the hand and says, "Hey, मार मत मेरे को." So you're not selfish. And I know Tahira. She is not selfish. She is very selfless. The world can make you feel guilty. नहीं तेरे को और करना चाहिए था. आ जाओ आप. करके दिखा दो मेरे को. और just smile and leave it. जवाब भी मत दे. Chill. Tahira? Keep moving. Each one of us has to be a keep moving movement. Not a stuck movement. Yes, darling. Anybody else? Any questions before we move towards the closure? Shefu. See? Yes, Shefu.
Okay. So my question is, so far I always thought that when I love myself, then it becomes easier for me to understand others and not
Yes.
take their behavior personally.
Correct.
From today's discussion, I'm understanding it the opposite way. I understood that first I have to understand others and only then I'll be able to love myself. I saw the other way working for me.
Why do you so first have to understand others?
From today's discussion, this is what I understood. That first, only if I understand others, then I'll be able to love myself.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. In fact, if I don't understand anybody in the world, it's perfectly okay. I should be able to accept them. There must be some reason why they are behaving like this. They have their own compulsions. I don't know. I accept them. I don't have to understand them.
But is that a precursor for me to be able to love myself?
When things go wrong, we have a tendency to blame others. No? So when you blame others, you won't be able to love yourself. So you can begin anywhere you want. But ultimately it will become a full circle. You can begin by first loving yourself, or you can begin by accepting others. No problem. It's a part of the same circle.
Naren, so the question is, let's say I'm able to overcome grief, and but say people close to me and all don't want me to overcome that soon.
Correct.
And want to keep reiterating certain things, or consider me to be very casual or not very serious about things.
Correct.
So then, how do we handle that? Overcome that?
Find out the source of pain in their heart. Work on removing that pain. 2, reinforce to them how good they are. Remind them of how wonderful they are as people. When I look up to myself, I don't want to hold on to grief. So you make the root strong, it can weather any storm. If you give the roots nutrients, the colors become green by itself. So when you make them have healthy self-esteem, then they know how to move on very fast. Because they feel that they deserve to be happy, they don't deserve to cry. So it's not about a lecture or a sermon from you that why you should move on. To move on, they need that inner strength. So validate that. Validate them multiple times, because you don't know how deep that hole of self-belief is. Like Shefu would say, fill the emotional cup. Fill that cup of self-esteem. And the higher is their self-esteem, the faster they move on. Alok? So deflect what you think is the cause. Don't solve what is visible. Like Dr. Suparna will say, don't treat the symptom. Treat the root cause. है ना? Doc? Correct na? Sort of medical science. As I meet doctors, I understand their terminology. Don't go for symptomatic treatment, is what they call it. Kunj?
If we, in today's world, if we are not in grief or some loss, then we come across as a insensitive person or the self-obsessed person.
Less emotional, less correct. You're right. Right? So you want the world to be happy or you want yourself to be happy? कुंज किसको खुश रखना चाहते हो, खुद को कि दुनिया को?
खुद को.
That's all. So what's your question?
So basically, so we should ignore the society norms.
Who created these norms? And if these norms has to change, who will change? Good. Are these right norms or wrong norms?
Wrong norms.
So whom are you waiting to begin the change?
Okay, got it.
It's up to you. It's a drop which begins an ocean. Now, if I'm scared of the world's opinion, I can't. If I'm saying maybe I'm the beginning of the change, you can. है ना? What do you think the Zen monk was thinking when he did not grieve over his child? Had he not realized the truth of life? What is the truth of life? So should you live by what is false, knowing what is the truth? If you don't know the truth and false looks like truth, not your fault.
That reminds me Mukaddar ka Sikandar.
Sorry, yes, good, go ahead.
I said that reminds me Mukaddar ka Sikandar.
Acha. Imagine next time you are hungry, you attempt to eat through the ears. And you get very frustrated. यार खाना ही नहीं जा रहा पेट में, खाना ही नहीं जा रहा. और तेरे को मालूम है ना खाना किधर से डालना है. So when I know this looks like the right way to live life here. If the world understands me, fantastic. If it doesn't understand me, one day they will. Jhansi ki Lakshmi Bai, she was not supposed to fight as a woman, right? Social norms. Should you care for social norms which are wrong? That's the point, right? और अपन इतने वीक तो नहीं है यार कि जो गलत हो रहा है उसका भी साथ दो. इतने कमजोर यार मेरे स्टूडेंट्स तो नहीं हो सकते.
Thanks.
But we are hurting our people also, na? If we will break the norms. My mother, father, my brother, elder brother. This time I have tried to change the norm after my death of my uncle, but they are not happy and they don't want it to be to be done.
So let me ask you something. Let's say Bharti does a mistake and my parents expect me to slap her. If I don't slap her, they are hurt. हमने तेरे को बोला तूने तो किया ही नहीं. क्या करूं मैं?
Of course not. You should not.
So understand something. If I do something which is right and others are hurt, does it mean I should do wrong so that they are happy?
Of course not.
Let me give you another example. Since Kunj also spoke about society and you are also speaking about a micro society, let me ask you something else. Let's say, for example, Neeraj will get married in 3, 4, 5 years' time. And let's say, for example, I have only 10 lakh rupees in my bank. And let's say, for example, people who are family members say you should have a lavish wedding. Should I take 50 lakhs on loan and spend it on the wedding so that people are happy? And let's say my father says, तेरी बुआ लोग आई है ना, सब बुआ को बधाई दो, उनको ना एक एक तोला सोना दो, चलो. मैं क्या करूं? If people will be happy only if I do something which is wrong, यही तो प्रॉब्लम है अपने सोसाइटी में. और कौन खड़ा होगा? कहां से शुरुआत होगी? लाइन बनेगी कहां से? यार अपने इतना तो इंदा जुनून होना चाहिए कि जो सही है वो मैं सही तरीके से करेगा. आई विल अंडरस्टैंड देयर पेन, I will do what is right and I will do it respectfully. झगड़ा नहीं करना है मेरे को. लेकिन जो गलत है वो गलत है. There are million things for which we care a damn. यहां कोई इतना आज्ञाकारी नहीं है कि अगर बुजुर्ग के मुंह से कुछ निकल गया तो वो तो होगा ही होगा. ऐसा तो नहीं है. Now don't use the society or others as a shield for you to complete what is incomplete in you. And I can say this with a lot of authority. Just before my marriage, when I was asked what kind of a girl you want, and I said I want a bold woman. Bharti is an extremely bold lady. She is a very loving, bold woman. She cares very deeply for people, and she can go out of her way to help people, which is another proof of boldness. Meek people cannot go out of their way to help someone. And there were other relatives also who came from families which are 100 times richer than what Bharti was from. And when I said I want to marry Bharti and not the others, a few of my relatives did ask, are you sure? Some of them became very upset also. क्योंकि रिश्ते अलग अलग लोगों के थ्रू आते हैं ना. तो अगर एक बुआ ने एक रिश्ता लेके आया है, उसको मैंने मना कर दिया तो अपसेट है वो. तो जय श्री राम के पिताजी की तरह मैं भी 3 कर लूं शादी, क्योंकि सबको खुश रखना है. फिर वो तीनों ही खुश नहीं होंगे तो फिर दुख की परंपरा तो चालू रहेगी. फिर बॉस जो सही करना है सही तरीके से करना है, गलत तरीके से सही नहीं करना है. सही तरीके से सही करेंगे ना, बड़े प्यार से सही करेंगे ना. चल इस जन्म में तो इससे करने दो, अगले जन्म में मैं सोचता हूं ना भाई, प्यार से करेंगे ना बात. अरे जबान पे ना शहद रखो, लेकिन करो वो जो सही है. हाथ में डंडा लेके मत करो जो सही है. बात करो ना प्यार से. अरे जाने मन, अरे अरे डार्लिंग, और मेरी बुआ मतलब दुनिया की सबसे प्यारी बुआ है, चलो मैं आपको आइसक्रीम खिलाता. पटाएंगे ना उसको हम. कोई नाराज हो जाएगा उसके डर से मैं गलत काम करूं. कोई अगर तुमसे नाराज होगा ना, हिम्मत रखो कि मैं पटा लूंगा उसको. और अगर वहां प्यार है तो वो पट जाएगी. थोड़ा टाइम टग ऑफ और चलेगा, चलने देना है, गलत मत कर. Because when you do something which you know is wrong, you live with that memory forever and the world will forget it. Because the tomorrow the world will have another expectation from you, and then another expectation you. A series of wrongs will be expected from you. They will forget it, but you will remember. Now you will have to live with your wrong. Look at life school. Now we do so many things which is not the way things are done in the world. Only once in my life I had this funny experience. You know, I call everybody darling. So I wrote to somebody, "Hey darling, it's so wonderful to see you." She was a part of Keep Moving movement. And she did a brilliant PST one day. In fact, I didn't use the word darling, I just used the word dear. She sends a message back to me saying, "I do not like terms of endearment." I learned a new word that day. I said, okay, I'll avoid endearments. Endearment means ये कोई भी loving word को use नहीं करने का. Dear, dearest, darling वगैरह use नहीं करने का. The only person in the world, एक ही को मैं नहीं भेजता वो. बाकी सबको तो मैं darling ही बोलेगा. Unless you also send a similar message, then I will send it again. तुम लोग को कहाँ बंद करने वाला है? So थोड़ा चिल. समाज के बारे में उतना ज्यादा मत सोचो. समाज को ऊपर उठाओ, लेकिन वो तुम्हारे बारे में क्या सोच रहे हैं वो तुम्हारा काम नहीं है. You do what is right, do it the right way, and that is where the world will follow you. Why do you want to be a follower? Why not a leader? You and me can't change God created rules. Like everything is impermanent. ये मैं और तुम नहीं बदल सकते. Gravity ये मैं और तुम नहीं बदल सकते. इंसानों के बनाए हुए रूल्स को भी अगर हम उसके सामने घुटने टेक दे, फिर तो समाज का पता नहीं होगा ना. उत्थान कहां होगा? तो थोड़ा रशीदा.
Happy morning, Naren. I have one question. We've kind of moved on a little, but I'll go back to it. You said that to fill the cup of self-esteem, validate the person multiple number of times. So I have this problem with my younger son that I have a habit of giving suggestions. And he takes it as low self-esteem.
Yep.
And he tends to get irritated. I mean, he's sensitive to this point. So, but validation, if I continuously keep doing it, he doesn't feel it very realistic. You know, it feels kind of a bit partial if it is. So, what could be another way of making him feel high on self-esteem or abating his loneliness?
Well, to abate his loneliness, get him married.
He says he's not ready for it now.
There are two things which will happen. After marriage, either his loneliness will get eliminated or it will increase. Anything good that he has done, ask him to speak about it and what he thinks about it. You know, for example, Suparna has been calling everybody to Sangola saying, "सब लोग आ जाओ, यहीं से एक live telecast करेंगे अपन life lesson का." Correct, Suparna? That day she'll have a lot of fans. Right now she has only one which is rotating on top of her head. Now let's say she is calling all of us, and let's say 7 of us go in one Innova and land up at her home. Now one way of appreciating is, "Darling, thank you so much for inviting all of us. बहुत मजा आया. We had a great time." Right? Now Suparna might be thinking, नहीं वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन क्या मेरे घर में 3 ही बाथरूम थे, 7 लोग थे, I'm so sorry, सबको inconvenience हुआ होगा. She will still think about what is not okay. Now obviously she can't build 4 bathrooms for few of them who are coming, But she will still think, nahi, nahi, acha nahi hua, nahi, nahi, acha nahi hua, nahi, nahi, acha nahi hua. So let's say Suparna is one person who thinks, I'm not able to do things great. Ye bhi theek nahi tha, ye bhi theek nahi tha, ye bhi theek nahi tha. All I need to do is ask her, darling, in today's world, not many people call people home. Tell me a little about your thoughts, na. How did you have the courage to call so many people home? And when you call people and तूने कितना मेहनत किया होगा ना सबके खाने वाने के लिए, बता ना कैसे मैनेज किया. अच्छा, for this there might have been resistance also. वो कैसे तूने हैंडल किया? So I'm not telling her directly, this is good, this is good. I am helping her discover, this I did well. Acha, this is how I handled it. This is how I processed it. She realizes it and she may not even understand the role my questions have played. But she'll end up thinking, hey, I'm good, yaar. Actually, 4-5 चीजों को मैंने बहुत अच्छे से किया. Objective achieved. Rashida, there are some people who have this tremendous weakness. They want to improve everybody around them. They are on an improvement mission. And they give permanent suggestions. You meet them, within 1 minute, one suggestion will come. Nobody in the world likes such people. It's a very bad habit. It's not a good habit. It's a weakness. It's not a strength. There are times when somebody is looking to improve. There are times when people want to change. That is the time you discuss the scope. Not all the time. If you ask Bharti, she will tell you, at home I am an ordinary, regular husband. I will not give suggestions. There are times when she will specifically ask me, Naren, kya karu? And even in those times, I'll say, darling, you are smart enough. You know how to figure it out. She will say, correct, and she'll go away. There will be rare times where we will say, nahi Naren, mere ko nahi samajh raha, aap batao na. I know that day she is open to suggestions. Otherwise, she needs good feedbacks from me, solid feedbacks from me, constructive validations for herself. Oh, as a trainer, I have so much scope that I see in all of you to improve. But everybody has a bandwidth of improvement. This is not like a canvas where तुमने जो stroke मारना था मार दिया, permanent हो गया. अरे बहुत processing लगता है इधर change के लिए. And always remember, those people who have low self-esteem, if they come to you for validation so that they can be lifted. Every feedback is like you're not good enough. Their self-esteem goes lower. So make them see the good they are. And they will improve by themselves. Now the risk over there is you will never get the credit. When you give a direct suggestion, you know you are responsible. When you just create the right environment and they do what is necessary, you will not get the credit. And if our self-esteem depends on taking credit, then we are helpless in giving suggestions all the time. So it's a trap. It's a trap. Don't go into that trap. What is it that we can do to be in love with ourselves? Very simple. Remember all the good you have done Remember all the obstacles you have overcome. You are defined by the mountains you climbed and not the mountains you failed to climb. Sachin Tendulkar scored 100 first-class centuries, but he played 700 games for that, which means 600 times he failed, 100 times he succeeded, and he's called the best batsman ever on this planet. So 15% success means he's the best. Why do you think you have to be 100% successful? मतलब पॉसिबल ही नहीं है यार. See, God has created you and me, which means even He is imperfect. तो फिर मतलब इतना ज्यादा खुद के ऊपर प्रेशर मत डालो यार. What you are capable of is defined by the success you have. And on that base, first decide to enjoy yourself. Let the whole world criticize you, you should enjoy yourself. Now, whether it is by joining Zumba classes, you celebrate yourself, or it's by playing badminton that you celebrate yourself, or it's going for a walk every day, no matter what happens, you celebrate yourself. Find ways to feel good about yourself. And with that, you will definitely lift yourself. When you believe you are good, you will create miracles in your life. When you keep looking at what is not okay and what is your mistakes, you will drain your own potential. मेरे को गुस्सा आता है क्या? आता है ना. Have I misbehaved with people? Yes, I have. Have I made some stupid choices in my life? Of course I have. But I am not defined by them. I am refined by them. I improve by that. For a bad behavior, maybe there were 500 good behaviors. For a stupid mistake, there were probably 100 great decisions that I took. So I'm deeply in love with myself. I'm a good person who's making a very solid, sincere effort in living life in the best way possible. Be in love with yourself. And a proof of loving yourself is by taking care of yourself very well. You are in love with your car, you will take care of the car very well. You are in love with your purse, you will take care of your purse very well. You love yourself, you will take good care of yourself. So exercising, meditating, being with good people, reading good books, sending me good gifts, these are all proof of how much you love yourself. You and me are one and the same, na? So all the women over here, go to the parlor every now and then and get yourself pampered. That is the only time when you're not thinking about your personal responsibilities. Otherwise, बच्चे, पति, सास ससुर बोले इतना सो जाओ यार पार्लर. And it's not about how you look good outside. It's about what it makes you feel within. Get yourself pampered. Even if people say Multani mitti is better, you take the chocolate pack. Cover your face with all the chocolate. Even if your husband says Multani mitti 30 rupees mein aata hai na, Tell him, तुम जाओ वो कॉर्नर के बार्बर शॉप में. I deserve the best in life. Even though I married you, I still believe I deserve the best in life. बोल के लगा लो चॉकलेट वापस ऊपर. I really think that ladies should pamper themselves. They don't. They are Elton John. Sacrifice. अरे बंद करना भाई. Never listen to that song. And pamper yourself. And to men out there who are also drowned in the roles of your life, take good care of yourself. Yeah. Buy good shirt, buy good t-shirts, invest on your shoes. मतलब बाटा के हवाई चप्पल से निकल यार. थोड़ा अपने आप को पैम्पर कर. You know, you like t-shirts, वो क्रोकोडाइल का टी-शर्ट खरीदना. It's atrociously costly. 3,000 rupees for a t-shirt which has only one color. Print भी नहीं है उसमें. मगर अच्छा फील है. खरीदना. और go to Anil and say equivalent दो ना कोई 500 में है तो. That's your मतलब bargaining power. Buy 6 colors if you want. You know, my bhanja, and I'll just take 2-3 minutes before we close today's life lesson. My bhanja has just started online food delivery service. He's named it Green Cyclone. And I love the tagline. The tagline is home cooked food, but better. Home cooked food, but better. So similarly, Anil can say, "Oh, crocodile hai, same quality, but better." Please take care of yourself. I know all of us have our own struggles, all of us have our own ambitions, all of us have our own imbalances. Don't wait for a time when everything is sorted out before you take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and things will be sorted out. So flood your city with parlor appointments today and tomorrow. We are not supposed to celebrate Holi, but live a holy life by taking care of yourself. Happy Holi to all of you. Have a great time this week. Next week, do tell me, how did you love yourself this week? What is the special thing you did to pamper yourself? Next life lesson, we will begin with the sharings of how did you pamper yourself. And after that, we'll move ahead. When you trust life and you trust yourself, life is wonderful.